two, three, four. Just like Michelangelo into the blue on heavenly wings. Cargo hand bones don't take off, no smoke, no mirror, no strings. I can't take off these dark shades. I can only say how it's too beautiful. Our town on TV. Our town, there's you and me. Upside down, hanging out of an airplane.
I'm here with Dave Touhey, and he's going to tell us about his service and what he thought about Memorial Day 2018, and also meeting the mayor from England.
Oh yeah, well, so they start out with the last first.
Okay.
The mayor was awesome. He visited all of the ceremonies that we did today at Alliance Park. We visited, I'm trying to think of his name now, Robert's grave anyway, came with us there. We went to the Veterans Memorial. We did the Polish National Alliance Memorial, and then finished up at the Doughboy, and then he was here. So he really participated in today's activities. Yeah, I think we would do made a fitting tribute, you know, based on General Logan's original order back in 1868, to vigorously remember those that have gone before and the commitments and sacrifices that they've made. And yeah, I thought there was a great turnout today, especially for the weather that we had. And you know, many people would comment they wish there were more here, but you know, we were very happy with the ones that were here. And so, of course, between that and then being able to appreciate those that continue to sacrifice and give,
Great speaker
I thought it was
today,
very
too.
feeding. Yeah, it was a great speaker. Oh, very compelling.
I almost had tears, seriously.
You know, honestly, whenever he yelled into the microphone, you know, it really got to me. I'm sure it got to a lot of people. You know, he's a very excellent talk. I asked him afterwards, I said, how could you do that? I mean, I said, so emotional. He says, I practiced it 100 times.
Plus he's a Marine.
Yeah.
Well, what is your rank, and can you explain some of the ribbons to the
so
people?
what I'm doing is I'm a Chief Petty Officer, retired. So each Chief Petty Officer pay grade of E7. And, you know, we like to think that the Chief is the backbone of the Navy. And, you know, my job in the Navy was a navigator. So I was what they called a sailor's sailor. I used to say that I was the only enlisted person in the Navy that was allowed to tell the captain where to go.
And you loved it.
And I loved it, yeah. So each one of these red stripes that's on my sleeve indicates 4 years of service. So as you accumulate those, you get closer and closer to retirement. So.
You've done other years too, because I've had you on the Our Town shows filming for what?
Yeah, we've been doing this for a lot of years. I was commander from 2000 to 2002, so I've been involved with the post since about 1998. We didn't move back to Amesbury until 1991.
Okay.
As a family made it a career, and you know, by the time I got back, we started getting involved with the VFW and.
But you're the go-to guy. I mean,
well,
you're
I
like
do
the
the
front
emceeing.
guy.
I think sometimes it's just they found somebody that was willing to get up in front of the crowd, and they said, "Well, if you just keep going."
Yeah, exactly. That's when you volunteer. Sometimes you own it, right?
That's right. That's right.
Well, thank you very much for coming on camera, and
You're
happy
welcome.
Memorial Day, and thank you for your service.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
I'm with my good friend Paul Jancewicz, who's a Marine, and he's been in a lot of these ceremonies. He's going to give us an update of what he thought about today's ceremonies.
I thought the whole thing was tremendous. I've been to a number of them, most of them actually, and I thought it went exceptionally well. Probably one of the best speakers, hands down, that we've ever had. For me personally, it meant something because I had fellow Marines who died in Beirut, and they were unable to stop the truck that blew up that building. So when Sergeant Iworski talked about that and how they were able to avoid it, even though I knew his story, I had never really thought about that aspect of it, that how many more would have died had those two men, his friends, his comrades, not given themselves. So very meaningful Memorial Day all over the place, all around, from the earlier cemetery and ceremonies earlier this morning and cemetery ceremony to this. It was just tremendous. And for the 350th, Then to add one small commentary is when they threw the wreath into the Merrimack River, which we do every year, and to naval service personnel. I was a little disappointed that it was the incoming tide, but it's rather appropriate that the wreath should be floating toward the Powwow River.
Exactly, yeah.
And then, of course, we had some weather that was rather inclement, but we have people here from England, so perhaps it's all very appropriate.
I almost said that to
So
him.
those are the lighter notes. On the heavier note, again, Memorial Day is always a hard time for anyone, and I thought that Sergeant Iworski saying that we're the lucky ones, and that's the thing I always remember. You know, Veterans Day, we celebrate veterans who are living, but Memorial Day, how many people have given for all of us? So thank you for being here as well and for doing this.
Just a real quick note, he's also into the Civil War reenactment as Captain Black. American history teacher?
Yes, well, I used to teach American history. I do anthropology, local history, psychology, and whatever else they ask me to teach these days.
This is the go-to man for the military. Thank you, Paul, for coming. I know you have a lot to do today.
For all you've done covering. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Hello, I'm with Ellen Rogers, and she was getting an award today for what she has done for Memorial Day and for the fallen. Nice to meet you. I'll just shake your hand.
Thank you. My artwork, Remembering Our Fallen, honors the men and women who have died in Iraq and Afghanistan. We try to remember them by writing their names, each name on a white banner in 20 different rows. There are almost 7,000 names.
Wow.
People can come, it's free and open to the public. Come look at the names, find a loved one, just look at the magnitude of what we've lost.
How long will you have that up for?
The artwork will be up through June 2nd, Saturday. It's coming down June 3rd.
June 3rd? Mm-hmm. Have you had a lot of visitors?
So far, we've had a constant trickle of people, and I'm hoping today we'll get a whole lot more.
Did you have it up last year also? Or was that different?
Last year was the first year that I did it, and this year I had so many more volunteers because they did see it and wanted to participate.
How did you get involved in doing this?
I'm an artist, and I've been doing artwork about these wars, trying to make it come to the forefront because it's so easy to forget.
It's like a quiet.
It's a,
yeah, it goes on and on and on.
Yeah, those who don't have family members in the military, it just doesn't come up during the day, and that's wrong.
Do a lot of people get emotional when they see it, or
I've had
reactions?
people come through and cry, men come through and cry who lost buddies, and thank me for doing this to remember them.
And again, how did you get started? What motivated you to really? You're an artist, but what motivated you to go that direction?
I was inspired by my uncle who served during the Vietnam War. He didn't see combat, but he told me how poorly veterans were treated, and I want veterans, and especially those who lost their lives, to be remembered well.
Well, you're doing a great job. Plus, you got the. Can I see in here?
You certainly can.
She just received this in front of everybody. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Can I give you a hug?
Yeah, sure.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ellen Rogers. Thank you. Hi, we're a good friend, Peter Hoyt, and I'm just going to ask him what he thought about this year's ceremony.
Well, I got to tell you, every year it's a moving experience to come here and to see, first of all, the number of people who show up
Yes.
supporting our veterans and the tradition of service that is rich in Amesbury. Today was especially moving. Of course, having our guests from Amesbury, England, Paddy and Richard Allen, most impressive, but most importantly, the keynote address that was delivered by our home son, Greg Iworski, was probably the most moving address I've ever heard. He did the deal. He lived it. It was really so incredibly well thought out and well presented.
Yes.
I know that his parents, Karen and Ski, must be so proud. And all of us as citizens are humbled by his service and by the way he's representing Amesbury as one of our own.
And you got a reward, award today.
Well, actually, I didn't, but the Cashman School did. As you know, I'm the former principal of Cashman
Yep.
School. I haven't been there as principal for 9 years, but each year the Cashman School has been particularly supportive of the veterans of foreign wars. So this certificate states, the Veterans of Foreign Wars awards this citation to Cashman Elementary School as an appreciation and expression of sincere appreciation and full praise for services rendered to the community. I know that tomorrow I'll deliver this to the current principal,
Yep.
Lou Charette, who's retiring at the end of
Wow.
this year.
Like you guys would be officially together.
That's right. We'll be colleagues, partners in crime. But on behalf of also a second grade student, Madison McGrath, who was here today, she was able to accept this along with me.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah.
That's right. So tomorrow we'll share this with the Cashman community and leave it for them to put on display. So it's been a great day, Bill. It's wonderful being here.
Before you leave, I just want to thank you for so much what you do for the community and what you, as far as the school, but on TV stuff, and you try to represent it so much. And I want to thank you very much, just from one person to another.
Well, thanks so much. I appreciate that. And, you know, we live what we learn. And I grew up in a family of community service.
Give back,
And
Well,
it's the
while you're there,
greatest.
before you leave, right? You're
That's
one of
right.
the original families. You
That's
can't get out
correct.
without. Now you open that door up, and you wrote a book right when you were in, right?
That's right, yeah. My wife and I actually are both descended from 2 of the original 18 settlers of the community. I'm from John Hoyt, and my wife Paddy's from John Bailey. So, you know.
Even though it's Memorial Day and it's 350th, right?
That's
now,
right.
So this is a good time for him to. Can you just talk a little bit about some of the back there in the book you wrote?
Certainly. My wife and I are on the 350th anniversary steering committee, and it's a year-long celebration. Every month we have had an event. Some of the really powerful things that have occurred: on April 21st, we were selected by UMass Boston to participate in the Mass Memories Roadshow. It was an opportunity for people to bring pictures and tell stories of significance to them and their families. It was a highly successful day. Just yesterday, we celebrated Incorporation Day.
Yep.
On May 27th of 1663, Amesbury was officially named a town. And so yesterday was the 350th birthday
that's
of
amazing.
Amesbury's
That's
Incorporation. We had all of Amesbury's 17 treasures were open for tours and presentations. We had 2 trolleys from Salem Trolley that took the guests around town to visit the treasures, and we had a ceremony in the morning at City Hall to kick off the day. And we're looking forward to other events. We have a reunion weekend in October and a pub crawl sponsored by the Amesbury Educational Foundation, a gala the following night, I think October 13th. So it's a happening place to be.
Oh, this is great, great. The reason I brought that up was because without the fallen servicemen, we wouldn't be able to continue to enjoy America and what's here. So I think it does tie together with this. And again, Peter, thank you so much for everything you're doing.
It's my pleasure, and
Sincerely.
thank you. Have a
Thank you.
wonderful rest of this Memorial Day.
Thank you. You too, also. Hi, we're here with Ellen Rogers, who's an artist and the creator of this wonderful memorial, I guess I could call it, right?
Sure.
And she's going to go and discuss. Each one has a person's name and the date they passed away and the country.
And which, yes, Afghanistan or Iraq.
Iraq.
And it also has a count, starting with the first person who died for our country in Afghanistan and going to the last person at 6,950 who died in April.
April this year.
April this year.
Yeah.
And the wars are ongoing, so unfortunately the deaths are ongoing.
Where did you get the information from?
I used a website called icasualties.org. They've been tracking the wars, documenting all the soldiers killed, not just American, these were all American, but also other nationalities, civilians, and injuries.
Is there a website that they can either donate to or get in touch with you to help you in any way?
There is a website. If you go to Fractured Atlas, Ellen Rogers, Remembering Our Fallen, and they can donate online.
That's great. Any Facebook or anything like that?
I have a page that's called Ellen Rogers Art, and they can go there. You can't do donations, but you can see the progress, you can see the volunteers, things like that.
Are you pleased with the turnout we had today?
I'm really pleased with the turnout. It's great to have people gathered in a group to hear the poem that Roger read. Usually people don't interact with each other a whole lot. They're here for personal reasons, and there's a trickle of people going through. But this was a much larger group and much more interactive.
That was a very powerful poem. I mean, I watched it from the hill, just focused right on him and his emotions and how he read it. How did you guys connect? How do you know each other?
Roger and I grew up together. Our mothers were friends, and we went to high school together.
Here in town?
In Amesbury. Yeah, we graduated in 1982. And Roger has been working on my brother's house, so I see him a lot. I work there also. And I told him about my project, about remembering our fallen, and he was inspired to write that poem. And he asked if he could put the poem up with the artwork. And I think that the combination of words and the visuals...
Very powerful.
Yes, they add to each other.
So you must love our town, Amesbury.
I love Amesbury. Amesbury is my home, even though I live...
We got to say it.
Amesbury is my home, even though I actually live in Rhode Island.
So you come up here for the summer, or just events like this?
I spend most of my time here. I help my mom out. She is no longer young, and she needs a helping hand.
Well, thank you, Alan, for coming on camera. Thank you for what you're doing. Okay, I'm going to introduce our Amesbury Mayor, Ken Gray, and he's going to talk with these people.
Thanks, Larry. Well, we want to welcome you to Amesbury again, and let the people know what a honor it has been for you to come over and represent Amesbury, England, in our 350th anniversary, which comes only once every 350 years, right? I mean, so it's been and as you can see, the city, town. Some people call it town, by the way. I kind of like that, but it's the city of Amesbury. Is very proud that we've achieved this milestone. Everybody, as you saw, turned out and had a wonderful time. And this is sort of the culmination of the weekend. It happens to fall on the Memorial Day weekend. So what I'd like to do is maybe just ask you, what are your takeaways from this? You want to start, Paddy? By the way, Paddy and Richard Allen from Amesbury, England, the mayor and ex-mayor of Amesbury. So Paddy, would you like to?
Thank you very much. Well, I'm overwhelmed by the whole thing. It's hard to put it into words how very happy we are to be here. And what a great honour it is to be able to take part in your celebrations, both yesterday, the 350th, and today, your Memorial Day. It's been very touching and something we'll never forget.
Thank you. Richard, do you want to say a few words?
Thank you. We visited a lot of the treasures of Amesbury, the physical treasures, but as I was saying to someone this morning, the greatest treasure of this wonderful city is in here, in the heart, and we shall take that away with us, and we'll remember it forever. And we're coming back in 50 years.
There you go. Whether you like it or not.
Whether we like it or not, right. And my wife, Donna, I'd like to introduce my wife. And Donna, would you like to say a few words?
Our remembrance of this special day, and certainly our special guests. We've had great fun, thank you so much for coming over and making this very, very special for us. And being good sports, we have had them everywhere. And we have a hard time keeping up with you. So thank you so much for a wonderful event. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Larry. Thanks for giving us the opportunity, and have a great rest of the day.
I want to thank everybody. Come on before you leave.
Sure.
I want to wish everybody a happy Memorial Day 2018, and I hope you watch this show, and thank you for watching. Bye-bye. Hi, with great privilege you're here with Richard Allen and his wife, Paddy Allen, right? They're the Lord Mayor and previous Lord Mayor of Amesbury, England. So they came here to enjoy our Memorial Day services and lay a wreath in front of our doughboy. So we're just going to ask how they like to visit.
Oh, we've really enjoyed it. It's been absolutely wonderful. The people have been tremendous. We've had great fun. We've been all over the place, and I'd just like to say that the real treasures of Amesbury, Massachusetts, are in people's hearts. It's not just the physical things that you can see here.
Yeah, that's the best part. I feel too.
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
this, yes.
I mean, that is absolutely true. It's wonderful, isn't it? Yeah, people have been so kind to us. Been really touched. I've been trying to get myself arrested so I can stay here. But then someone pointed out that they might not release me, so that wouldn't be any good.
You met Rosemary, right?
Yes,
Yes,
indeed, yes.
she's been very good as far as usually setting up all these events and stuff. And
yeah.
she's from Ireland, but she brings over so
Oh,
much.
yeah.
So did you like the police station here and what the police and the fire department does for the community?
Yes, yeah, actually we're going to visit them, when is it?
On Thursday.
Thursday.
Before we go
Yeah, we've
home.
got a presentation to make to each of them.
Oh, great.
From their counterparts in Amesbury, UK. Yeah.
Nice. Do you think you might be able to come back again sometime, or you're not sure?
If we can afford it.
We certainly would like to come back. We'd love
Yeah.
to come back.
Now, you also was Lord Mayor for a while
I
previously?
was 2 years ago, yes.
2 years ago?
Yes, just for
and
the
how
year.
did you? We don't understand that process here. So what is it like? Is it like our democratic process here? Or somewhat, or?
I suppose it is basically, yes. We have a council, a town council in Amesbury in England, and as a councillor, each member has the opportunity to elect, firstly, a deputy mayor, who normally becomes the mayor the year after, but that's an election wholly within the council.
I want to wrap up real quick because I know we get some pictures down here. Has politics been part of your life for a long time? Are you
No. We
Not
just
even now.
I hear you.
We're independent.
No, we're not politicians. We just joined the council to do good for the town. Yeah, because we were welcomed there, and we thought we wanted to give something back.
Both of you are very personal. I can feel it from the heart where you guys are really involved in stuff. I'm really thankful.
Yeah, we do care about things. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Are we somewhat like you in England as far as Amesbury? I mean, we got the name and stuff, but do you feel resemblance in any manner? Or?
I don't think there's any resemblance at all.
No.
This is beautiful. I mean, ours is just, well, it's a sort of dormitory.
But you got great history. Stonehenge is not.
Oh,
the-
yes.
I mean, you got
Yeah,
some
there's
good, that's great.
there is the history, yeah.
We have enormous history.
It's the oldest inhabited place in Britain.
I read that in it.
Yeah,
I looked up the
yeah.
Sudby.
Yeah, oh, yes.
Know something what's going
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
But sorry.
No, I was
but
just
our Amesbury is really just a small market town that
was grown tremendously.
It's grown
hasn't it?
tremendously
Great
as a
pictures of the
dormitory
houses. I saw
area
some of
now.
them.
Yeah, a lot of social housing now,
Yes,
and
yes.
it's a commuter area really for Salisbury, isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
Well, thank you very much. I really do thank you.
You're very welcome.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
Have a great one.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Lord Mayor and the previous Lord Mayor.
on 11 o'clock on the 11th day of the 11th month here in 2018, 100 years since the end of World War I, a number of citizens gathered in front of the Doughboy, which had been dedicated in 1929, 11 years after the end of that war, in memory of those from Amesbury who served in that horrible conflict. We gathered, we said a few prayers, sang some songs, and spoke with one another about our remembrances. Some of us had relatives who served in World War I, and we felt that it was necessary to remember that, the end of that horrible conflict and the historical moments around it in front of this amazing statue made by Leonard Krask, which was rededicated recently, restored by the Amesbury Veterans Memorial Restoration Committee and Trustees of War Memorials, of which Rosie Werner and Francis Justin had originated. And so we had a very lovely and moving experience, impromptu, and there'll be a formal Veterans Day ceremony tomorrow on the following day. It's been excellent to be with the people who do remember, and glad that we could be here to call attention to the fact that this was the end of that horrible conflict 100 years ago. And also nearby, one of the more neglected pieces of our history is Joe Wilson's Wall, which Joe Wilson had been a World War I fighter ace and later on served in the Army Air Corps in World War II. So there are all kinds of things like that here in Amesbury among the various locations to memorialize those who offered up the most and some who never came home from those horrible conflicts. Thank you.
Just like Michelangelo into the blue on heavenly wings. Cargo ham bones don't take off no smoke, no mirror, no strings. I can't take off these dark shades. I can only say how it's too beautiful. Our town on TV, our town. There's you and me, upside down, hanging out of an airplane. I remember when the new Constellation went transcontinental. It was oh so experimental. I took a ride in a Goonie bug. And when the pilot waves from his little window up high, I turn back into a child. I wanna touch his gold stripes and wear his hat. I say, hey Captain, you're where it's at. So high flying angel, take your time. High flying angel, take your time. High flying angel, take your time. Come back to me.